Hey everybody, it's Gypsy. All that noise you hear are my cats playing. They're so happy. They're just, even Draco and Rhiannon are playing, which never happened before because Rhiannon couldn't stand Draco, but now they play together. So, anyways, as of today, it has been 8 weeks since I fell and I had my surgery, which means I am down to only 4 weeks of non-weight bearing on my left leg. So that's exciting. For those of you who don't know, my Great Pyrenees accidentally tripped me with this tie out. And I fractured my tibia plateau, and then it went down my tibia. And then somewhere, I'm not exactly sure, there's a horizontal break too. It was not a simple fracture. It was one where the bone, came apart. And the doctor said my knee joint slammed together. And it was I'm not even sure how to say, comminuted break. There were bone fragments. He had to pick all those out. He said there was a very large one he had to get out, and then he had to glue my leg, my bone together, my tibia. So after he glued all that together, then he attached a metal plate that goes down the side of my leg and wraps around. So before I went into surgery, he was basing it on what he saw in the x-ray. And he told me that I would need 6 weeks of non-weight bearing. I thought, I could do that. When I got out of surgery, he said things were much worse than what the x-rays were showing. And so he changed it from 6 weeks to 12 weeks of non-weight bearing. But I am now, I'm almost there. I only have one more month to go. For my estimation, it'll be around April 26th that I can start putting weight on my legs. Last week, I started working on bending my knee. When I first did this, my leg wouldn't move at all. It was like I was paralyzed. And it wasn't just the pain. It just wouldn't move. It was very heavy. And no matter what I did, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't move. So I started working on it last week. And although I'm not too far along, I'm much farther along than I was last week. So I'm very excited about this. Also, I have an appointment on Friday morning with my orthopedic doctor in Cleveland. So I'm hoping he will say I don't need my brace anymore. But then there's a part of me that hopes he says I still need it, because what I've noticed is, all right, like when I take a shower, I take it off. But what happens is, all right, when I transfer from the wheelchair or whatever to the shower chair and my leg doesn't have the brace on, it hurts like hell. So it's like I'm afraid of not using the brace because of the pain. But at the same time, I'm hoping he says I don't need it anymore. So I'm finally heading in the right direction. My leg is starting to come to life again, which is exciting. And I know I still have a long way to go, but I'm finally getting somewhere, so I feel better about it. My incision healed nicely. There are some issues I'd like to talk to my doctor about. For one thing, all right, now that I'm here, because of the size of this house, I do use my wheelchair, but I'm not in it as much as I was before. So my leg is hanging more with using the walker, or right now I'm sitting on the couch. I don't know what one of my cats did, but they just turned on the lamp. Anyways, when I'm sitting in my wheelchair or I'm in bed, my leg is propped up. But I've noticed yesterday that my left leg is kind of at the end of the day, it's darker. In fact, right now it is. It does swell up still, and it's darker than my left leg. It's really weird. What else did I want to ask him about? These cats are wild today. Oh, I have a tingling in my calf near my incision, and then I also have tingling on the bottom of my foot at the heel. This concerns me. So, yeah, it's kind of scary, so I need to talk to him about that. But I'm really looking forward to my appointment. As we know, last time I had an appointment when I was in the skilled nursing center, and here transportation got messed up and I wasn't on their schedule. Found this out like when they were late to pick me up, so it was too late to get to my appointment. Lord help me. I love being with my cats. It's good to see them so happy. Anyways, I'm gonna show you guys where I am now with bending my knee. I'm finding it very exciting, and for those of you who have this injury, now I was told there are varying degrees of this injury. A lot of people who fracture their tibia plateau don't even need surgery. And then others have surgery, but they don't, they only have to go like 6 weeks, if that, with non-weight bearing, and they can bend their knees sooner, etc. They said I really messed up my leg. It was shattered and, all that. So it's going to take longer, and I'm sure my age has a lot to do with it. Being almost a decade postmenopausal, I'm sure my bones are not as strong as they used to be too. I know at one time, I think around right after menopause, I was diagnosed with osteopenia, which is just before osteoporosis. So I do need to have a bone density test too again. So that's where I'm at now. I think it's going quite well now. Before I was frustrated because I felt like I was getting nowhere. So just stay tuned and I'm going to show you where I'm at with this. It's really exciting, I think. So this is like, if you have this injury and you're getting frustrated and depressed, and all the doctors talk to me about the depression too, you're going to have PTSD because it was a very traumatic injury, and you're going to get depressed because it's very life-changing, at least temporarily, and that's what I was having issues with. But I'm doing better now, and I wanted to share this with you guys. Okay, so as I said, I think my incision healed nicely. This here is just my brace rubs here, and that's all that is. Other than that, I think it healed really good. When they first took out the stitches, it was like all like puckered up and mounded. And oh my gosh, it looked ugly. And I went, oh my God. And he said, no, it's going to flatten out really quick. And it did. And I think it's healing good. What's weird is he has 2 incisions here that are small. And then I have the big one here where he put in the plate. And then there's another small one there. I don't know what those were about. But that's that. And I took off my brace. And as you can see, I'm still swollen. They told me I have water on the knee. They're hoping as I use it more, it'll go away. If it doesn't, then they're going to have to drain it or something. Also, when he took out the bone shards, he missed one. So there's like a floating bone shard somewhere in here. I don't know exactly where. They talked about removing that, but then decided to see how it affected me when I start moving my leg more. So that's another issue. I do right here. I will get a very sharp pinpoint just below my kneecap pain. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I have some weird things I want to talk to him about. So anyways, as you can see, all right, my right leg, don't mind how I'm trying to hold my legs straight, but I had a dislocated hip, which kind of makes me hold my legs weird when I lay down. So before, I could not bend this knee at all, okay? It would not bend. My leg wouldn't move in any direction at all. Now it moves a little bit, which is a huge improvement. So when I first started working on bending my knee, I started measure with this. So I could only bring it to about here. I'm sorry, right here. Okay, so that was last week. I do these about 2 to 3 times a day. I do 2 sets of 10, okay? So what I do is I'm measuring with there. So it used to be last week, that's all I could do. So there's not much of a bend here, okay? So now I can bend, wow, that's further than yesterday to here. Now, last week it was there. Now I'm bending to here. It hurts like hell. It does. But it has to be done because my leg was starting to atrophy. It wasn't doing anything. I've also been working on, let me see if I can do it. All right. Trying to move this leg. Now, last week I couldn't move it at all. I had to use my hands. Okay, I can move it a little bit. Getting it back is what I cannot do. So I have to take my hand and move it back. So this exercise I am doing a lot with my hands, which is how I got it to move now a little bit because I had to work those muscles up. Lifting it, it's all I can do for lifting it unless I use my hands. So that's where I am now. And you can see the difference in my legs, the color and everything. This does concern me, and it is more swollen. And yes, I do have chubby little old lady legs, but it is swollen. So I'd like to talk to him about why this is still swollen. And although this foot looks much better, it used to look like a little pig foot. It was so swollen. And those cuts are from Draco trying to play with my feet. I want to ask him why this is all still swollen. Oh, and another thing that happened 2 weeks after my surgery when I got back to Ohio is they found I had a blood clot. So I ended up in the hospital for another week while they decided what to do about that. So there have been some complications, but I'm really moving along. And so, I'm going to report back to you guys about what my doctor says, the orthopedic doctor. But I'm pleased now with the way things are moving. Before I was not. It doesn't look like much after 8 weeks, but it is. I no longer feel like I'm paralyzed. My left leg is paralyzed. It's starting to move now. My muscles tone is coming back. So that's where I am now. There's a cat trying to get into my food over there, but it's fruits and vegetables. She's not going to be interested, thank God. I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.